Again, welcome. My name is Jessica. I oversee the admissions for the MBA program here at Cal State San Bernardino. And thank you so much for joining today's information session. With me today, I have Maggie. She'll be discussing the online MBA program as well. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started. I definitely want to be respectful of your time, so let's get into it. I did forget to mention along the way, feel free to ask questions. You can either unmute yourself, put your questions in the chat, raise your hands, whatever works better for you, and then we'll try to address those as we go along. For those of you that are not familiar with our campus, Cal State San Bernardino is located in Lynn, Southern California. By any chance, are any of you familiar with the campus, or did you graduate with your bachelor's from our campus? Just want to make sure you're there. Perfect. Great. Thank you, Omar. If you're not familiar with our campus, like I said, we're known number 12 best bang for the buck in the West, according to the Washington Monthly, and also number 4 in the nation for social mobility, according to the U.S. News and World Report. So we're really proud of the opportunities our campus offers. And regarding our MBA program specifically, so our Master's in Business Administration, the reason why a lot of students like our program, we'll talk a little bit more, and hopefully I did invite one of our current students to join us. Hopefully she joins us. If not, I can connect you with someone who's in the program who can talk a little bit more about what their experience has been. But the reasons why students are choosing the program here at Cal State San Bernardino is because we have very flexible schedules. We have evening, some weekend classes, some online course options. We offer graduate assistantship opportunities, and we have a dedicated student advisor. His name's DeLorean, and he's a great resource to our students. His role is to help students plan out the classes you need to graduate so that you always have that guidance. He's a full-time staff designated for MBA students specifically. We're also one of the most affordable MBAs in our region. We'll talk about the costs as well. But based on the accreditation, the cost, the quality, and the convenience, we're really proud of our program, and we really do feel it's one of the best options worldwide. It looks like Irene joined us. She is one of the students in our MBA program at the moment. Irene, if you can hear me, would you mind just sharing a little bit about what your experience has been, and feel free to share, what your program is as well.
Hi everyone. My name is Irene. I am the MBA ambassador. So I currently am in the MBA in finance, and my experience so far has been great. The professors are helpful, the resources they have as a grad student, and also I would encourage everyone to join clubs and also join the MBA ambassador program because they're just very helpful, and then you get connected with the director as well. And then also, they provide the gym, and then they also have like other programs for your specialties and excuse me. And they offer classes online to work with your schedule because I do know that grad students are working full time. So you're able to work you're able to attend classes after work, and then also the professors understand that sometimes you can't go to classes because of work. So they're very understanding when it comes to that. But my experience overall has been great. And then also you're able to take summer classes too.
Yeah.
So my experience has been very helpful, and I would highly recommend to apply for the MBA program here at CSUSB.
Thank you so much, Irene. And I know you are at the moment you're probably in your lunch, so I
Yeah.
appreciate you joining. Before you leave us, does anyone in the session have any questions about the program or the experience of being a student? Anything you'd want to ask Irene before she heads out? I don't see any questions. One quick question, Irene. Do you mind just sharing what your schedule looks like, just so you can, so they can have an idea? For example, what does your
Yeah.
semester look like this semester? Your classes look like this semester?
Yes, so one is fully online and the other one is hybrid. So we only meet once every 2 weeks or every
Oh,
week. So yeah, that's my schedule right now. And then you are able to take up to 3 to 4. It depends on what you can. But the minimum I would recommend is two.
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And all the classes start 5:30 p.m. or later, just so you know if you do have an on-site
Yes.
class. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I don't see any questions. I'll provide the student ambassador
Okay.
contacts in case anyone wants to reach out. But thanks again, Irene, for joining.
Oh, thank you. All right. Have a good day.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
you too. Bye. Um, so I'm glad she was able to join and just kind of share a little bit about her experience. Um, I mentioned, sorry, let me go back. I mentioned the accreditation and the quality of the program that students really like. So, um, all our business programs here at Cal State San Bernardino College of Business and Public Administration are accredited by AACSB. For those of you that are not familiar, AACSB accreditation is a set of standards that are applied to business schools specifically. And if you meet those standards, you gain the AACSB accreditation. To give you some perspective, only 5% of the schools in the entire nation hold this accreditation. So that in itself should give you an idea of really the quality of the program. Um, our online MBA is a great program as well. We're known, according to the Princeton Review, they put us in the top 50 online MBA programs um, as of this year. So I just want to talk a little bit more about what I meant with quality. Now let's talk about the different MBA options we have. Um, since there's a couple options. So we have our traditional MBA. The traditional MBA is a program that's offered in a hybrid modality, which means you can do it on campus, half online. However, it does have on-campus classes, um, kind of like what Irene is doing. She's doing our traditional MBA. The traditional MBA varies depending on which concentration you pursue, because with the traditional MBA, you select a focus area. And the options would be accounting and internal auditing, cybersecurity, which is a STEM designated concentration. We have entrepreneurship, finance, HR management, hospitality management, management, marketing management, global supply chain management. We also have interdisciplinary where you can kind of pick and choose from different concentrations if that's what you're interested in. And then available this spring coming up, we have our business and data analytics concentration that we'll be adding. Um, you are able to also do dual concentrations. You can select from two different concentrations. You would just make up um, the different in the concentration. So it's about 3 to 4 extra courses if you decide to go that route. So I'm going to go back to um, distinguishing the different programs. So again, if you pursue our traditional MBA, it's 12 to 14 courses, 36 to 42 units, and it's a hybrid program. We also have the MBA for executives. This option does not include a concentration, and it's for students who already have a lot of work experience. And what we mean with that is we're looking specifically for at least 24 months or 2 years of leadership experience in a leadership role. And that could be either overseeing other staff, overseeing a facility, project management. Because it doesn't have a focus area, the program is 30 units, 10 courses. You can complete it in a hybrid modality, or we also have the fully online option, which is the same classes, it's just in a different modality. So I want to invite Maggie, who's with us today, to talk a little bit more about the online option.
Thank you, Jessica. Hi, everyone. My name is Maggie Garcia. I am the student advisor for the MBA online program. So I wanted to chat with you all just so you can, as you're deciding whether or not you wanted to pursue the fully online or fully traditional, what are going to be your pros and cons. So this program is considered a accelerated program. Students roughly finish the program within 21 to 24 months. You will be taking classes fall, spring, and summer. As far as the actual modality of the program outside of online, it is fully asynchronous, so um, there's no need to take classes via Zoom or in person. All the assignments, everything is done through Canvas. The program is structured a little bit differently from the traditional MBA. So the traditional MBA offers concentrations. The MBA online program doesn't. You will be earning a total of 30 units compared to the 36 to 42. Right now, we are accepting applications for spring and for fall. So depending on when you would like to start dates are pretty flexible. There's a lot of start dates throughout the year if you did want to decide to start. The program in itself is 33,000, so there is a cost difference that Jessica will go over in a few moments. Let's see. I think as far as that, one of the biggest differences is that it is the four executives. So there is a 2-year leadership experience requirement for the students who apply for the program. So you will need to submit your resume to us where we will review it. And then if approved, you're eligible to apply. That 2-year leadership experience can be met through employee supervision, project management. If you have any questions or any hesitations, feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to be inputting on the chat my contact information. I'm available via advising appointments, Zoom, email. One of the biggest perks as far as our graduate programs is that we're here to help you throughout the entire application process. So you can schedule individual one-on-one sessions with us just so you can decide if this is a good path for you, or if you're ready to apply, you contact us so we can walk you through the process. If you are interested in the online program and you want additional information, um, and my contact information directly, please on the chat, go ahead and put your name and your email, and then I can provide you some additional resources. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you so much, Maggie. I was going to ask if anyone has questions, but I do see one question in the chat, which is what's considered a full-time student? A full-time student is considered a student who takes at least 2 classes each semester. If you are seeking any type of federal financial aid, we always invite our students to consult directly with the financial aid office just to make sure that if they're looking for a specific number of units to maximize your benefits or your financial aid, you connect directly with them. But we consider a full-time student anyone who takes at least 2 classes each semester. Um, can you do the traditional strictly online, or does it have to be on a campus online? It does have to be on a campus online, Omar. It is a hybrid program. We have some students that get lucky and have some classes available fully online, on some semesters, but at some point you would be required to come in, especially for the concentration courses. Those are only typically offered on campus. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you for asking. Any other questions? Yeah. Um, I do see that question, what internship opportunities are there with the program? So we are partnered with different companies specifically. There's a website. I'll pull it up towards the end of our presentation, and I'll provide you the website that we have just so you can get an idea of what companies we're affiliated with or what companies we are working with. It's typically companies around the area, and while we don't place students in internships, we make the connection so that you guys can hopefully get placed in internship opportunities. We also have career and internship fairs where we invite as many employers to come to campus for openings or job openings or internship opportunities so that you can also have easier access to them. Do you know if classes are, no, unfortunately at the moment we only offer classes for the MBA program at the San Bernardino campus. So it's either San Bernardino campus or fully online or, hybrid. Thank you for your questions. I'll go on to the next slide where we'll talk a little bit more about the admissions process. So in order to gain admissions for our program, of course, you'll want to have your bachelor's degree, but it doesn't have to be in a specific major. We accept bachelors from different majors, and you don't have to have specific experience. When you're submitting your application, what we'll ask for you to show proof of your degree is your transcripts. At the time of the application, unofficial transcripts are okay. So you can just upload those onto your application. And then once you're hopefully admitted, we'll ask you for the official transcripts. For admissions, ideally we're seeking a GPA of at least 3.0 or higher. That could be either cumulative or with your last 60 units. Students tend to do better with the last 60 units. However, if it's not quite at a 3.0, I always encourage students to still submit your application so that we can calculate your most recent GPA, and also based on your experience and just your application as a whole, we can go down to a 2.5 GPA if necessary, if we feel that your application makes up for the GPA in other ways, like, for example, experience. You would submit the application through Cal State Apply. That's the portal that we use to accept the application. And as part of the application, what we'll ask for you to submit is a letter of recommendation from a professional recommender, your resume, and make sure you're detailed on your experience. Make sure you're including the months and years in which you held each position, and especially if you had a leadership role, make sure you're describing what that role looks like, what your responsibilities were, if you were in charge of, again, any overseeing other staff, overseeing a facility, project management, make sure you're including that in your resume. Also a statement of purpose, so about a page-long statement of why you're seeking to apply for the MBA program, and why you feel you'll be successful. With a statement of purpose, we're looking, yes, to get to know you a little bit more, but also we're looking at your grammar and make sure that your writing skills are there. And once you submit your application, we'll also ask you to schedule a Zoom interview where we'll go over your application and just a little bit more about your background. The other requirement that we have is what we call the business aptitude requirement. And this can be met a couple different ways. For the business aptitude requirement, if you're seeking the traditional MBA, you can meet it if you had a 3.0 GPA or higher from an undergraduate business school that was accredited. So just an example, let's say you graduated from Cal State San Bernardino or UCR, who also has an accredited business program, and you received a 3.0 or higher, then that alone meets the business aptitude requirement. Another way to meet it is if you already have another accredited graduate level degree, so another master's, a doctorate degree, that meets the business aptitude. A different way to meet it is if you have at least 2 years of professional experience, ideally in a leadership role, but we can determine that off of your resume. So that's why I encourage you to be detailed with your experience. Now, if you don't have any of the three previous, then we might ask you to submit GRE or GMAT test scores, so that we can determine what your whether or not you meet the business aptitude requirement. So if we do ask for it, we'll ask you what scores we're looking for specifically. If you're not sure whether you meet the business aptitude requirement, you can consult with me directly. We can do a one-on-one and kind of talk a little bit more about your background and go off of that. Now, we mentioned for the executive MBAs, specifically, whether you do it hybrid or fully online, we do require the 2 years of leadership experience. So If you're, again, not sure whether you meet that or not, you can email us your resume beforehand. That way we can determine if you have the 2 years of leadership experience. And again, for those of you that just joined, we're looking for the executive MBA if you're seeking that option, that you have at least 2 years of leadership experience that could be overseeing other staff, overseeing a facility, project management, just to give you an idea. And that's the only way to meet the business aptitude requirement for the executive MBA. I'm going to take a quick pause here. Does anyone have questions, or can I elaborate a little bit more on the admissions process or requirements? I don't see any other questions, so let's talk a little bit more about what the curriculum would look like if you um, pursue our MBA program. So all students, this is a sample graduate plan. So we have a dedicated advisor who will walk you through this, but um, uh, a graduate plan for our program includes all students take 2 administration classes, which is the foundation courses, and they're typically taken in the first semester. After that, you select 7 of the 8 courses from the essential list. So there's a list of essential or core classes that we have, and you essentially select one course that you want to omit, that you don't want to take. So, for example, we have accounting, entrepreneurship, finance, information systems technology, management, marketing, or supply chain management. So you exclude or omit one class that you don't want to take. If you are seeking the executive MBA, you do an elective instead. So for example, if you're really interested in management, then you can take another management class. On the other hand, if you're seeking our traditional MBA that has a focus area or a concentration, then you would make up three classes for your concentration. And then, of course, at the end, you do what we call your culminating courses, which is a portfolio and a comprehensive exam. These are, as you can see, they're worth 0 units. However, they are still required for you to graduate. You're just not charged for them. So I'll give you just wanted to provide that. Now let's talk about the cost, because we mentioned the cost. And um, for our traditional MBA, if you're a California resident, if you're taking around 3 classes on average per semester, the total cost you're looking at for the entire program is roughly around 31,400, or around closer to 39,200 if you're doing the cybersecurity concentration, because that has more courses. It's just more units. As a non-resident or an international student taking the same number of classes, because there's a different tuition rate, you're looking at for the entire program around 47,400, or closer to 59,500, again, if you're doing the cybersecurity concentration. So for the executive MBA, since that has the set number of classes, if you're doing it in a hybrid modality, as a California resident taking on average 3 classes per semester, you're looking around 27,600 for the entire program. Or if you're a non-resident or international student, same average number of classes, around 40,900. And if you are pursuing our fully online MBA for executives, that has a set fee. There's a set number of classes, set number of fees per class, which is 3,300 per class. So the entire program ends up costing 33,000. Now, I did want to talk a little bit about how potential ways you can finance your MBA degree. If you're interested in financial aid, first of all, I do encourage you to submit an FAFSA application. And essentially, the FAFSA application takes you into consideration for the SUG or graduate business grants, which is free money, or student loans. Now, I did want to clarify that the grants are need-based, meaning when you submit your FAFSA application, you'll indicate your income, your household size, And based on that, the Department of Education determines what your eligibility is for free money or if you just qualify for loans. In addition, unfortunately, the grants are not available for the fully online MBA. So I just wanted to point that out. However, most students do qualify for loans that would help you cover the funds up front, and then you pay back your lender after you graduate at a student loan interest rate. We also have a lot of graduate assistantship opportunities. And what that looks like is student positions around campus. For example, Irene, she's a student assistant or a graduate assistant. So it offers part-time positions on campus to work with either faculty or staff while you're doing your degree. You can also seek privately funded scholarships. And the way that works is there's private parties that donate money for students. And these scholarships are out there for students to apply to and hopefully get free money. So with scholarships, the only thing is they're very competitive because it is free money. It does require for you to, first of all, do your research and learn what scholarship opportunities there are out there. Once you find what you qualify for, each scholarship has its own application. So it's not like FAFSA where you submit one application for everything. Each scholarship has its own application. And just because you apply does not mean you're going to get it. It means it could be one scholarship and 50 applicants, or it can just be one applicant. It can vary. So it does take a little bit more work, but again, it's potential free money that's out there. And then last but not least, if you are currently working and your employer offers tuition reimbursement, I always encourage students to ask your employer if they have any tuition reimbursement benefits, because you'd be surprised how many employers are willing to help, if not to cover the entire degree, at least a partial. So I'm going to take a quick pause here just because we talked about the cost, financial aid, and I'll see if we have any questions. I do see one question in the chat before I address it. Does anyone have any questions about financial aid or the cost of the program? Okay. I'm going to go back really quick because someone is asking me about how many classes there are in the traditional MBA. And there's 12 to 14 classes for the traditional MBA. Most of the concentrations are 12 classes, but if you're doing the cybersecurity concentration or the business analytics, it's a little bit more classes, so about an extra semester. Okay. All right, I don't see any other questions for now, but feel free to ask questions for those of you that just joined. Now, what the program looks like once you're admitted into the program is we'll have a new student orientation. We host this once a semester for all our new students, where we give you, more information, policies, and procedures about the program. You have your designated academic advisor who would help you select the classes and guide you with, what classes to take. We register you for the first semester, so you have that guidance. We also offer a program that we call the Passport Leadership Program, where we encourage students to participate in events throughout the year. And for every event that you attend, you collect a stamp, kind of like you would in a passport. At the end of the year, if you attend a minimum number of events, either online or in person, you get a leadership award and a medal you can wear on graduation. We also have the Student Ambassadors Program. Irene, who joined us earlier, she's a student ambassador, and their role is that we select a handful of students to be representatives of the program and speak to their experience, so that students like you or prospective students like you who are looking for an insight as to what it is to be a student, and if you have any questions, you can go directly to them and talk about those questions. And we also have Coyote Network, where it's a platform for networking. kind of like LinkedIn, but it's all internal. So it connects you with alumni and current Coyotes or current students who um, graduated or are currently in the program to help um, expand those network opportunities. You also sometimes see some job opportunities or even internships on Coyote Network. So just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what that looked like, but also some of the resources that we have available to make sure that you are successful in our program is we have our services for students with disabilities in case you needed accommodations in any of your classes. Irene mentioned the Rec and Wellness Center. So we have a gym on campus. We have counseling services, our Veteran Success Center in case you have any military benefits you are seeking to utilize. Career Center to help you with resume building, cover letter. Again, they are also in charge of inviting potential employers to come to campus and talk about their job opportunities or internship opportunities. We have the on-campus Graduate Success Center. So this is a physical center that we have on campus designated for graduate students specifically with a kitchenette, a computer lab. So you have a place to go in case, again, if you're working, for example, if you need a place after work, but before classes start to do your work, that's available for you. We have different sporting events, study abroad programs, and also a center that we call the Overshaw Den, which is more like a humanitarian center for students who are struggling with basic needs like food, shelter, clothing, even. So we're really proud of these resources and want you to be aware of those in case you decide to pursue our program. And for those of you that haven't visited our website just yet, I definitely encourage you to visit that because we'll have a lot of resources, not just for prospective students, but once you're in our program, information on, for example, the course information, program information, different forms, scheduling appointments. So again, that's csusb.edu/MBA. That's where you can find information on the program. And at the moment, we are accepting applications for spring. We opened up August 1st, and we'll be taking applications through January 10th. And the semester would begin around mid-January. If you're an international student, the deadline is different for students who have foreign transcripts, or if you're an international student. Maggie, do you guys have a different deadline for spring? I always
Yes, we do. Just a tad bit different. So
okay.
same thing, session 1 and 2, but our deadline is November 14th for the first session that starts on January 20th. Then the second session, deadline's January 30th, start date's March 16th.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're
And then
welcome.
if spring is too soon, we'll be opening up fall applications to start next August, and fall applications open up October 1st, and you'll have until July 31st to submit your application. We typically don't advise for you to wait until very last minute, but if you had to, you have until July 31st. As with spring, for fall, if you're an international student or have foreign transcripts, you'll have to apply by June 1st. That's the deadline. And I was going to add something else, and I can't think of it, but I just wanted to let you know, for example, if you're still working on your bachelor's degree and let's say you're graduating in the spring in May, you can apply to the program that last semester before you're graduating. So a lot of students start applying March, April, and then we just wait for all your grades supposed to render a formal decision. But while that's processed, we can start working on your application and reviewing the other documents. So I just wanted to point that out. Alrighty. We are on social media. You can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn as well, and on YouTube. I'll be posting a recording of today's um, recording through YouTube. But If you are on social media, follow us, please. We'll be updating information on events and also different deadlines or admissions requirements. We try to keep our social media updated as well. Now, if you wanted to meet one-on-one with me, let's say you have questions about your specific application or your specific scenario, feel free to schedule a one-on-one appointment with me. You can either scan the QR code and it will send you directly to my scheduling page, or I'm including my email address in case you wanted to contact me also. And I think those were all the items I wanted to go over. This concludes the end of my presentation, but did you have any questions perhaps on any items I didn't touch on? Anything we can help clarify? Oh, I think I was going to share the internship information. While I look that up, feel free to ask questions or unmute yourself. Any other questions? Well, thank you everyone for joining. If you're interested in staying for information on internships that I mentioned, feel free to stay. Otherwise, thank you for joining and we'll stay in touch. Okay. So I put the link in the chat. And it's essentially, this is what I shared with you, just an overview. And then if you click on the fact sheet, it tells you a little bit more about what to expect and, what guidance we recommend our students. And then we also include current openings. So again, these are specific employers that reached out to us and they told us that they're seeking an intern. So for example, for Riverside County, and it has a little bit more information. And we do have a contact if you're looking for an internship. Once you're a student, you do have to be a student with us. We have an internship coordinators that you can contact for, with any questions. Okay. All right. I don't see any questions, but again, thank you so much for joining. I'll stop recording now and hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.